Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Stu Clark. If you watched my last video on tripod heads, I talked about trying to replace my ball head with this K&F Concept three-way geared head. I was pretty excited a couple months ago. K&F Concept reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in doing a review of some of their products. And the three-way geared head is actually something I've been looking at for a while. Like I said, if you watched that previous video, you saw how the ball head is my least used piece of equipment when it comes to tripods. And I always found that it was a little bit lacking for what I needed it for. And the three-way geared head is quite a bit different. It's a unique design that is really designed for a kind of a higher level of precision work. Looking for landscape photography, architectural, real estate photography, macro work, anything that where you're really trying to dial in that composition, where speed is not a requirement. This is definitely not meant for a fast action at all. This is meant for static subjects in a fairly controlled environment where you can take your time and really kind of dial in your composition. It's a very unique style head. So basically how it works, you've got 3 different knobs on it that allow for adjustment of the head. So you got the lower one here. So this one is for your horizon. This will correct your horizon. The front knob is for your panning. And then you've got your tilt on the top knob. These have actually also got spring-loaded. These have also got spring-loaded adjustments. So when you adjust the spring load, it releases the head. And then when you undo, then you can fine-tune it from there. You've got it on all of them. So you can adjust, it'll release the head, allowing for easy, quick adjustment. Very simply, and then you can just fine tune it from there. So it's a really neat design that really allows you to just really dial in that composition. And I've been playing with it on and off. We've actually had terrible weather since I got it. It's always doing the wrong weather for what I want to do. What we're going to do today, we'll kind of have a run through. We'll go and we'll kind of shoot the forest a little bit, and we'll kind of give some examples. What's a great way to show examples of how this works is not only showing me using it, but I'll record video as I'm setting up the composition. So you can just see how nice it is for, like I say, those fine adjustments. And in the previous video, we were talking about ball heads, where ball heads they're decent at everything, but they're not great at anything, in my opinion. And the big issue with the ball head is, as soon as you loosen that off, you can lose your horizon. You could immediately lose your composition when you loosen off that main knob. Where this one, because you're dealing with fine tuning, it's not a wholesale, oh, you lost the composition trying to reset it. You can just slowly tweak it and really dial it in. And I think it can really improve your photography. Like I say, especially when you're dealing with that static subjects, no action, really help to improve your critical eye when it comes to composition. And I think that's something that we can all kind of benefit from. It's 810 grams. They rate it for up to 15 pounds. I was shooting some astrophotography with last night with my 200 to 500. And that setup with my Z8 is about 8.8 pounds, nearly 9 pounds. And I would definitely consider that the upper range of what I felt comfortable using the head with. So I would definitely say in that 8-pound range would be for that occasional use. I think 5-6 pounds of gear is where I think is a more comfortable range as a general use with this head from what I felt. It's all aluminum, very, very well made. Actually, it's quite a nice head. There is one issue with the head. Originally, when I got it, this head will not work with a systematic tripod, and all of my tripods are systematic tripods. I'm generally not a fan of center posts, especially when I'm shooting big lenses most of the time, so 200 to 500, you know, that 8-9 pound weight range on a tripod. So I don't generally use center posts. K&F Concept sent me a tripod out to use with this, but I felt it was a little bit light for the gear I normally use, and I just found that some of the stability in the head was lost a little bit by the tripod itself. The upper section of the tripod they sent is thinner than the lower section of this tripod, and I've just gotten so used to using, you know, higher end, heavy duty carbon fiber tripods. A lighter weight, lower end aluminum tripod is a bit of a tough gauge for my current gear. I'll do a little chat on that one in the next week or two, and we'll just kind of have a look at it. It's got some really neat features. Personally, for me with a tripod, I want 3 legs and a plate, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. So what I've done with this one is I actually made a little spacer so I can actually utilize the head on my Leofoto tripod, just to kind of make use of my heavier tripod. Didn't think I could give a fair review of this head based on the lighter tripod. All aluminum construction, excellent. It comes with an Arca Swiss plate. The attachment is nice and simple with the Arca Swiss plate. I've got an Arca Swiss plate with the small rig cage. I've got Arca Swiss plate on the bottom here. My 300 f4 here has got the Kirk Photo Arca Swiss plate. My 200 to 500 got the Kirk Photo Arca Swiss plate as well. So when setting up this head, it's definitely designed to be where you have the Arca Swiss screw at the back here. So you're mounting the camera forward. And this way, you're using your left hand. You have access to all of the knobs easily from your left hand. So you can fully adjust the camera as needed from your left hand, so you can maintain control of the camera with your right hand. Whenever you get a new tripod head, there's always a little bit of a learning curve of how best it's going to work for you. And so a great way, I think, to demonstrate how this head performs is we'll record video as we're trying to set up the composition a little bit. So got a beautiful Douglas fir here, and we're going to basically set up where we can show how nicely you can kind of dial in the composition from both portrait and landscape mode. We've got the tilt on the front, we've got the pan on the side, and if you need to fine tune the horizon, this is how you can do it here. So you can line up your trees to make sure they're vertical. The Douglas fir is obviously sloped a little bit. But now with the tilt, where you can really kind of fine tune your composition here, you can see how they've got the whites up top there. So with a fine adjustment, I can slowly drop it down to get a lot of those whites out of the image. If I want to get the salal at the bottom here, or the Douglas fir, and then on this side I'm a little bit bright as well, so I can just pull it over there. A little bit of it, we'll zoom in a little bit here. Got a little bit of white on this side down here, so we just kind of pull that back a little bit, and you can just see how easily it is to just move the camera around with just fine-tuning adjustments on it. And that's, I think, without a doubt, this huge strength of a geared head. And the K&F Concept, there's quite a few geared heads out there. Some of them can be very expensive, some very high-end gear heads out there. This one is, I think, one of the better value ones at $239. So someone like myself, that I'm primarily a wildlife photographer, so I definitely, I'm a wide angle is not something I'm always putting on the camera. So for my use, a good value, at $240 Canadian, it's quite a decent value for what it brings to your photography. So if I want to switch this to portrait mode, we can pan it down. Again, we've got the leaves up there. We can kind of pull back to get more of the Douglas fir in the shot. Just thread it down to slowly get rid of the whites up top here, and you can just have infinite adjustment over your composition so simply, and it's a pretty amazing head to utilize. And as you get comfortable with, like I said, I've only had it out shooting a number of times now. I said the weather hasn't been playing well. They've had a ton of rain. So as you kind of get more comfortable with the adjustments, it'll become second nature, and you can just really helps you dial in those compositions. And very, very interesting head, and I'm really excited about using it over coming months and years here. So I'm really looking forward to kind of being inspired a little bit with this head to just kind of start to really kind of work on my compositions and my landscape photography. Let's have a little wander down the trail here and see what else we can see. So macro photography is another great application for the geared head. You're always trying to make just minute adjustments to the camera in order to get the focus point exactly where you want it, both from a focusing but also from a compositional. And with this head, it really helps to give you that real fine tuning to really kind of dial everything in. Okay, so we've got my trusty 300 f4. An awesome close-up lens, not quite macro obviously, but it's a great close-up lens. So we'll kind of take a look at how this works with a little bit larger lens, give you an idea of just how you can, with the macro on this, just how nice it is for fine-tuning the adjustments as you want. The one issue definitely with the geared head, trying to figure out which one does what you want, will take a bit of time to get comfortable with it for sure. But you can just see the precision you have with the setting, just how nice it is. You can just dial it in. So if you want to just have the front edge of the mushroom in focus, you can just dial it right in there. Oh, got a little ant on there. A mosquito. This is the 2.3 crop mode, so it's going to give you a really good idea of just the precision that you get. So this is kind of at quite a macro level. So this lens is at 0.25 times magnification normally. So at 2.3 times, you're going to be getting into half or greater, almost not quite 1-to-1, but getting there. So you can see how I'm able to dial in that little water droplet there. Which at the 2.3 crop with this, I'd have to do the math on what kind of millimeters I'm looking at from a macro standpoint. So this just gives you that, like I say, excellent precision. Not speed, not meant for speed, it's not meant for dragonfly shooting, anything like that. Be far too slow and cumbersome for that. But it definitely works really well for this style of shooting. You see, if you want to try and focus on that point there, I can just you can easily get it exactly where you want it to be. Just amazing. You know, you want to get the outside edges of those, of the fur, of the moss in focus. You can just easily pan over to it. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, it's just so simple to adjust it as you're trying to get your composition dialed in. Okay, everyone, we're out here. This is kind of a great place to do some architectural photography. This is the historic Kinsale Trestle in the Cowichan Valley. Pretty amazing structure. It's actually one of the largest freestanding rail bridges left in Canada. This was recently, they did a bunch of structural work on this a few years ago to kind of keep it, instead of tearing it down, in order to maintain it as part of the Trans-Canada Trail. So it's a pretty amazing place. So yeah, so we'll kind of take a look at how the K&F Concept head works in this style of photography. And again, what we're going to do, we'll shoot some video through it as I'm making the adjustments to the composition and changes, and just see how nice it is for kind of making, just really kind of perfecting your composition, especially when you've got all the different leading lines in this, to make sure your horizon and everything else lines up as you want. We'll head down below and we'll get some shots looking up at the bridge from down below. So a three-way gear head is really made for this sort of photography, where you've got obviously a static subject not going anywhere. Lots of angles, lots of things to consider when you're trying to compose your shot. And so it's really a great tool for this type of photography. With a ball head, because you struggle so much getting it level, where you can lose your horizon level so easily, you can quickly end up with things getting a little bit strange, especially when you've got so many angles going on, like with a structure like this. So obviously you can do a lot of corrections in Photoshop after the fact, but trying to get it right in the field is ideal. So with this head like this one, you can really kind of help to work that. So with the horizon with this, you're probably going to want to try and go with the trees as much as possible. So if there's trees in the photograph, they're going to be vertical. So you need to kind of work with that in mind. You don't want the trees all leaning over. You'll see there's trees up top here, and those trees will be, you want to try and make sure that they're going to be level as much as possible. So we can zoom in on them and try and get those as level as possible. So that's the first part you're going to want to do with a shot like this. And that one tree right in the center there, you can see, is level. So we've got that worked out as level, so we don't have to worry about touching the horizon anymore. Now we can work on the pan. So let's go back to zoom that out again. So you see all the white up top here. We're going to want to work that a little bit out of the shot. So we're going to tilt this down. There's a bit of scrub in the bottom here, so we don't want to go too low. So we've got to kind of split the difference between the sky and the scrub at the bottom. So I might even zoom in a little bit on the structure itself. That'll help to eliminate the scrub at the bottom. And then we only have the one little bit of a notch up top here where we're dealing with some white sky as well. So it just, everything's kind of incrementally adjusted. With shooting a structure like this, it's actually quite difficult. So I've actually gotten quite close to the actual bridge structure itself. And we're going to go for a nice portrait shot of this to kind of get, just to kind of help to show the actual height of it as best we can. Quick release, drop it down. I've gone a little too far over from the, so you can just easily bring it up a little bit there. What I do is put the tripod right up for this one, actually. So you can see the camera, just how easy it is to just small adjustments, and you can just totally change your composition. You know, like I say, you want to get a little more of the do find when you're going up against the gravity, you do want to help the head a little bit. What I do notice with this is, because of how it works, where like right now the composition is even, I'm right down the center line of the bridge here. So I'm right down the center line of the bridge here, and I basically got an even composition top and bottom that was actually kind of difficult to see. And then, but as I was kind of making the adjustments, it kind of came into view with the zoom, and the zoom combined with the adjustments of the head. It's, yeah, I said I'd give it 2 thumbs up so far. Said I've only been shooting it for about a month now. Kind of the weather's been really strange this, well, not strange, it's spring on the island. But the weather hasn't been great for getting out for doing a lot of shooting. So I haven't had a huge amount of time on the head. It'll definitely be, you know, how's it going to be? How are the spring loaded adjustments going to be? Is it going to loosen up over time? I haven't got that sort of time behind it yet, so I can't really speak to that so far. But, you know, my first month and a bit using it, really happy with it. I really like I find it to work really well. So I did have to make a spacer to work with my systematic tripod. But definitely works quite well. Like I said, K&F Concept sent me a tripod to try because it didn't initially fit on here. Tripod's a little bit light for my gear though, so I kind of managed to utilize my full-size carbon tripod, which I think it's a better test of the head versus having a lighter weight tripod where you're getting some movement in the head, in the tripod itself. So I didn't think it was a fair test of the stability of the head and how it actually functions with full-size gear on it. So that's architectural shooting with the G3DW from K&F Concept. Said very nice head. Just keep in mind, it doesn't work well with the systematic tripod. You do need to get a spacer for it, or I know Manfrotto does apparently make a spacer that will hopefully, I know, so it's not a fault of this geared head. It's most geared heads. I was reading online, they all have this sort of similar issue where when you release certain aspects, you're going to bump into the bottom of the tripod legs or the plate. So you do need to have a spacer in between. So ideally you want a center post, a center column in order to manage that easily. So you're not restricted anyway. This one gives me enough movement that it works fine. It's about a 1-inch spacer that I've made. Just basically made a 3/8-inch bolt that I made an extension on the tripod with. That seems to work quite well. Well, it's a beautiful clear night out here. I've had the K&F Concept 3-way geared head now for a number of weeks. I've been wanting to get out and do some astro shooting with it, but it's been overcast and rainy, and every time I had a chance to, we even had a lunar eclipse through all this. I was really hoping to get out and shoot it, but it didn't happen. So finally got a nice clear night. So you can see here, I've got my 200 to 500 with the Z8. So it's amazing with this. This is definitely, I would say, getting to the top end weight-wise. As you're trying to find your subject, you can just dial it in. So you're trying to find the moon. It's really nice because it's you've got precise gear action of finding what you're looking for. So you can see as you're trying to dial in the moon there, just how amazing it is for kind of getting right onto your subject as you're trying to just, especially with something like the moon, where this sort of head is just phenomenal for, because not only is it moving across the sky, it's often moving at an angle. So if you're trying to track the moon with a ball head, for instance, it's not just a matter of loosening the pan and swiveling the pan. You end up where as soon as you loosen up the ball head, you lose, then you're trying to kind of fight to get it back on. With this, because it's just small movements, you can just slowly dial it in, and you can just keep right on track of your subject, as long as you're going the right way. Still learning the head. I do notice with a big kit like this, there is a little bit of flex in the system. It's just, like I say, this is right at the maximum that I would consider working range for this tripod head. But it does handle it no problem. Wow, the seeing conditions are absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely beautiful right now. Shooting this right now at 700 mil plus the 2.3 crop of the video. So we are, yeah, pushing over 1500 mils. Yeah, I don't do a lot of astrophotography. This is infinitely easier to find your subject. It really is. They say with the ball head, the gimbal, as soon as you loosen it off, you completely lose your field of view. And this works just amazing. Yeah, very cool. Well, I'll definitely say first test on this for Astro, very successful. And my initial review of the K&F Concept GD3w, the three-way geared head. It's pretty awesome. I say it's definitely one of it's definitely the better value geared head on the market. There are some very expensive ones. You can spend a couple $1,000s on it. This retails right now in Canadian for about $239. I'll have affiliate links down below if you're looking to purchase one of these. But if you're like me, where landscape photography and architecture is something you enjoy doing, but it's not something that it's your primary use, I highly recommend giving this head a go. It works wonderfully. And I think, as I said, I think it'll really allow you to just take your artistry to the next level and just really help you to kind of put a little more thought into composition, just really kind of help you dial things in, like I say, for that landscape photography, real estate photography, astronomical, any of that sort of things where you're really trying to dial in that composition. I'd highly recommend it. It's the K&F Concept GD3w. Until next time, we'll see you out there. Take care.